On this week's episode, we sit down with Keonté Beals. Keonté grew up in North Preston, and from an early age, he developed a strong love and passion for music. Early on, Keonté sang in his church choir and eventually began sharing his music online. He received incredible feedback and used that positivity to continue to create and work hard on growing his career. Keonté is now routinely performing shows, including one this Saturday in Halifax, and also has an album in the works. Although admittedly a shy person, Keonté brings raw passion and energy to his performances that he choreographs himself. Listen in as we go through it all.
I was the same old me with the same old blues. I was the same old me with the same old blues. I was the same old me with the same old blues. I was the same old me.
Okay, we're back for another episode of Brand New View, joined once again by my co-host, Ben Brammer. How's it going, Ben?
Very well, thank you. How about you?
I'm great, thanks. Appreciate you asking. We're joined tonight by Keonté Beals. How's it going, Keonté?
It's going great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great tonight, Keonté. We're happy you can join us. Appreciate you driving in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And join us driving all the way in from North Preston. Our second guest on from North Preston.
Really?
Yeah. A couple weeks ago we had on Tyler Simmons.
Oh, right. You're right. I saw that. Right.
Yeah, very cool. So now you're also our first musician on.
Awesome. Number one.
Awesome. Very cool. So was that something you always had an interest in from a young age?
Yeah. Honestly, I can remember as far back as 7. I'm sure it was earlier than that, but 7 is definitely where I remember starting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And was there anyone in particular, or how did you find your love for music?
Well, I grew up in the church, so gospel music is my background. So watching singers like Novelty Buckin, Renee Smith, Cindy Kane, and singers like that who came from the church, that really inspired me. But also watching the choirs. When I was 7, I joined the St. Thomas Baptist Church Junior Choir, and so that's kind of where I got my start.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I have a feeling listeners are going to like that laugh. I hope we hear it again soon. It's infectious.
There it is there.
There we go. That's go ahead there.
I was just going to say, so right in and around grade 1 is when you started singing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what was it like going to school in North Preston and growing up singing? And
Yeah, it was amazing. Honestly, just growing up in North Preston, period. I always tell the stories of how you could literally walk around the community, go to anybody's house, knock on the door, and you go in there and you get like a full meal. You could stay there if you didn't have no place to go. So it was always just a real sense of community and togetherness. And so, yeah, it's always been amazing.
that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Tyler said.
I know, it's a second, word for word almost. It's very, very nice to hear that strong sense of community. We were mentioning that in some bigger parts that closeness kind of gets lost, where we were saying sometimes you don't see your neighbor for days on end. So it's nice to have that support and know that, you know, if you can't go to a family member or a friend, you have someone who just lives down the street to go to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And everybody kind of knows everybody.
Yeah.
Literally.
Any big neighborhood parties?
Yeah. There's like a few that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Every weekend something's going down. Somebody's throwing a shindig.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
We should organize stuff like that in this neighborhood.
Should we? Have you seen this
It's
neighborhood?
like, have you seen the people that walk by? Girl walk by with a
trying to
baby bat
organize
last night.
myself to get out of here. Oh, I love it here, but it's not really inviting for that. It's not made for that. It's not designed for that.
You never know.
No, there's no way I'm having any of my neighbors in.
There's a main street close
Yeah.
by. I suppose that's kind of tough.
Oh, you can tell the listeners where I live.
North End,
That's as far as we'll go.
close enough. Near the Commons. So, with music, was it something that you thought you could take something with and make it somewhat of a career, or were there other things that you were also interested?
Yeah. I think I didn't really decide to make it a career until I was about 13 years old. So like the rest of the years was literally just because I love to do it. So I started singing and dancing, but I started dancing before even singing. So it was always.
I saw that Instagram video the other day. I know you can dance.
Thank you. Yeah. So I started dancing first. I was in a hip hop gospel group called
Awesome.
All for Jesus, but we performed everywhere, like everywhere in Halifax, all over the place.
That's cool.
So I was the guy in the group who always had like the solo. Yeah, so that's kind of where I got my start at. But it was kind of just something fun for me to do until I was about 13, and then it turned into something more serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were many of your friends involved in the choir or part of this group? All
Yeah.
for Jesus?
Yeah. So the whole community, I mean, there's the smallest chance that you can't point to somebody and be like, sing something, and they'll be able to sing. Like, everybody can sing. Everybody's musically inclined. So the whole community. Yeah, the whole community.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what about your family? Did you grow up with brothers or sisters? Or
Yeah, I did. I have 5 siblings, so I'm like smack dead in the middle.
Oh, the middle child of a
Yeah.
big family.
Yeah. So 3 of them are before my mom's marriage to my dad. So they're half brothers and sisters. And then the other 2, the youngest 2, are from my parents, both of my parents.
nice.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Very good. And is there a good mix of male and female?
No,
Brothers
not
and
at all.
sisters?
I have one sister.
One sister.
The rest are all boys.
Oh, boys, eh? Anyone else also had similar interests in music, or was
Music?
it just
Nope, it's just me. But you know what though? Actually, no, I'm not gonna say that because my younger brothers, they have talent for music. But I guess growing up, they saw me doing it so much that they're like, I don't want to do it.
you? Okay.
It's which is weird. Like my youngest brother, I think that he really could be like the star of the family. Period.
Yeah.
He's like the same as me. He dances, he sings, and he was younger when he started doing all that, younger than I was. So it was like, oh, if he would just let me like show him some of the things that I know so far, I think that he could be great. But you know.
You hear that? Listen. So you mentioned around the time of 12 or 13, that's when you kind of realized that you could take it to the next level.
Yep.
The musical talent you had.
Mm-hmm.
How did that all kind of come to be?
Well, like so my sister, who is my aunt, but we grew up like brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
She loved to sing as well, so she would sing all the time, and she would post videos to like Facebook and YouTube and stuff. But I would never sing. Like she knew I could sing, but we would never just do anything. So anyway, one day she convinced me to cover a tune with her, and so I would just do some harmonies and stuff like that. And we posted it to Facebook, and it was really great. The response was really, really great, and everyone's like, "Oh, I didn't know he sang," or whatever. So I tried it on my own. I did Silent Night, and I also did Angel by Sarah McLachlan. And those just kind of took over.
Tearjerkers.
Yeah.
I'm singing both of them in my head now.
And those just kind of took over. And from there, I was like, you know what? I'm really going to do it. Like, I really want to train my voice and really get the proper, whatever I needed to do, basically, to start. Yeah.
That's one of the cool things nowadays with Facebook, with social media, is there's, not as many barriers to entry. You can just post it to the world and say, here, judge me. Mm-hmm. And if you like it, you like it. It's not controlled by this big media conglomerate or anything like that.
Yep.
And you saw the response that you were hoping for, or you were surprised by the response?
Yes, I was. I called myself a closet singer. Like, no one really knew. Like, the only person who knew that I sang was her.
Oh, wow.
Until after those videos. So I didn't know that I could, like, harmonize or do any of that stuff until that video. That first video. Yeah.
Do you still have that video?
No, I do not.
Is it on Facebook anyway?
It's on Facebook somewhere, yeah.
It's in there. It's in
Yeah.
Zuckerberg's
We're going looking after it.
feed somewhere in his hard drive.
I want to see it.
And
I'm
you
curious.
don't even see us in it. we're like behind the camera, because that's how shy I was.
Yeah.
So we weren't even.
So that's why you didn't let anyone know.
Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't on. We weren't on the camera at all. You seen like shadows in the background dancing.
You were dancing even still.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fun.
Shadow dancing.
Don't sing and dance, man.
Oh, well, So were you always shy growing up?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. I still am. I still am. But back then I didn't say a word. I was really quiet, especially when I was in like elementary. Like I didn't say a word. Like I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean it.
When a teacher called on you, were like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh no, it was terrible. So terrible. Yeah, it was terrible.
So was it your aunt that helped you break out of that shell?
Yeah. I guess so. Unintentionally, but yeah, I guess so. Yeah, she was the first one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
How'd she do it?
She held you down.
No shit. I don't even remember what she said to me, to be honest. I think she literally was just like, we should do a video. Because we would always make dance routines. That was nothing for me to get up and dance. And she was like, let's just make a video of us singing this song or whatever. And I don't think I hesitated because I didn't know we were going to put it anywhere. It was just going to be with us. So we just kind of practiced it a little bit. And then we just kind of did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's really fun to hear your start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go for it.
Yeah. Yep.
So you got a decent response, a positive response, and you're like, all right, I'm going to work on the vocals, the harmonies.
Yeah.
Did you seek out any coaches, mentors, anything like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I begged my parents for the longest time because they didn't think I was as serious about it. Because, like I said, no one really knew that I sang. So not even them. Like, I would sing home when I was alone. And that was like never because I was so young.
And there's so many people running around. Like
Right, exactly.
Five siblings.
Exactly. So, yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about, Keonté? You don't sing.
Yeah. Nobody knew. No one.
Wow. Okay. So who eventually believed you and was like, okay, I'll take you under my wing?
Well, after I finished begging my parents, they finally put me in lessons, and me and my aunt, that same person, we went in together with a lady named Sharon DeWolf in Cole Harbor.
Shadow Sharon.
Yeah, and so she was like the premier, like she worked with so many people from North Preston, so she was the one to go to at the time for sure. But so we went to her. I think we had about 8 lessons. So that was about over 2 months' time, a lesson per week. And from there, I kind of just got the basics of singing. And after that, I uploaded the Angel video of a new improved voice,
Yeah.
You're still 13 at this time.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Keep
so,
going.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so I uploaded that video and yeah. The rest was history.
The rest was history.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you do differently in that video, or with that approach? Did you apply everything that your teacher was able to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My voice was way stronger. Even just with those 8 lessons, most of the times I play keyboard and stuff like that. Most of the times I just learn the basics to things, and I take those and build the foundation of it, period. So that has been like my way of doing things. So I would be in lessons for the basics, and then I would leave, and then I don't know, just build the rest. Build the rest on that. It always worked though.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
And so outside of the music, was there anything in school that you particularly enjoyed?
I enjoyed English,
Yeah.
which makes sense now. A songwriter.
As a writer, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed English a lot. I was really good with visual arts. I used to draw and stuff and paint and do all that stuff. When I was in grade 9, I was in the yearbook as one of the best artists in the school. It was me and my friend Morgan.
Very cool.
Shout out Morgan.
Shout out, Morgan.
Yeah.
We shout out everyone. Literally anyone you mention, I'm probably going to shout them out because
kind of
we
a
find
thing.
it's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got your supports. We want them to know.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that was in grade 9. You were kind of trying to figure it out, if you will.
Yeah. Yep. Big time.
So then when you got to high school, what was that like?
When I got to high school, I took vocals, vocals 10. And again, it was the same thing. Like, even though by then I was singing a little bit and people in my community knew and some of the people on Facebook, I got into the class and I basically didn't sing. Like, we would do, like, choral stuff and I'd be hiding in the background, like, just not really singing, just too shy. And my teacher, because I didn't sing, he didn't know what section to put me in. So he just was like, oh, your voice is really deep, because it is really deep when I'm just speaking. And he's like, so you're going down to bass. And then one day, it was around Christmas time, and we covered, I don't even remember the tune. But anyway, that was like the day that I sang in front of everybody. And everyone was just like, because they just didn't know. And he was like, so you're definitely not a bass. I'm like, no. But yeah.
I knew all along.
Yeah, so that day kind of changed it all, period. Started to build my confidence from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you mentioned, it was up until then you're still dealing with the shyness.
Man, today,
Still today, as you said. How did, with that performance in front of the class, can you recall the feeling beforehand?
Yeah. A lot of my earliest feelings and experiences in the industry was filled with a lot of awkward emotions and a lot of sweating because I was always so nervous. So that's exactly how that day was. But before we actually performed the song, we had these practice rooms, and they were kind of like soundproof. Mm-hmm. So we were practicing just before that performance, and my voice was so loud that you heard it through the soundproofing. Oh, really? And so I turned around, and the glass, you could see through it, and everybody was looking and they were clapping and stuff like that before the performance happened. So when it happened, I was just so nervous. I was like, oh my God, everyone already heard. I was just really embarrassed. Yeah.
Were you ever in a school play, Mark, or part of the vocal classes?
Probably like in elementary school. I think I was in like the grade 2 choir.
Were you always part of the choir at school as well?
No. Nope.
I was in the grade 3 play, and I was the donkey.
Oh my God.
I was the jackass, but it was a Christmas play, and I had to sing. Grade 6, I was Santa.
You had to sing.
I had to sing as well. Yeah.
I've never heard you sing before.
I was gonna say, how was that?
I don't know. I blacked out both times.
Oh my.
And then after that, I didn't join. But I always regretted it a little bit.
So you're only 22,
Mm-hmm.
but you're already killing it. You got
Thank
a
you.
performance coming up in June.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get back into high school for a second. Did you by that time you've got your music class where your teachers realized where to put you?
Yeah.
You called it vocals, right?
Yeah.
Was that what the class was called?
Yeah,
Mhm.
not
Vocals
music
10.
class. Your vocals class, vocals 10. Is there
Yep.
vocals 11 and 12 too?
Yep.
I don't
We'll
know
get to
why
that.
you're asking me.
Yeah. We went over that. I stopped my vocals in grade 3, was it?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just wondering when it became sort of like a job for you, a career.
A career. Yeah. That was like June 14th, 2014.
The
Specific
exact
date.
And I'll tell you right now, my
What
boy
time is
Ben is a massive fan of exact dates. He already told you.
I absolutely love it.
Do you know the time? 11:02.
Guess what? You know, I might know the time. The time was probably 12 p.m.
No more, no
Really?
less.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
And
Yeah,
what
I
happened
like it a
on
lot. 12 noon.
that date?
I released.
Lunchtime.
The album. No. Let's see. No, sorry.
I released "I'm Here," a cover version from The Color Purple.
Ooh,
Yeah, the
which
soundtrack
is
of The Color Purple.
It's playing at
playing right now.
Neptune right now.
Mm.
Go check it out.
Yeah, and that
Shout
song
out
is at
Neptune.
the end of the play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, I released that. But I guess I could say before then, because I was performing and stuff. Like I would do a bunch of charity events and church events. Just building my confidence at that point. But as far as taking a career turn, I would say that was the day. Yeah, that was one of my most receptive videos still to this day.
Walk us through that day.
That day.
Is it a good one to relive?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
absolutely. It honestly.
By the way you reacted, I was like, was it stressful? Like, it sounded pretty
No,
cool.
it wasn't. It wasn't stressful at all. It was just. It kind of just took off. Like, so I kind of like blacked out for most of that day because it was just like what is going on? Yeah, it was going all over the place, literally just all over the place. Released it at 12 p.m. And everybody just kind of started sharing it everywhere and stuff. And I'm like, no way, this can't be true. And for that whole day, it was just, I was in disbelief.
How many shares do you remember?
I don't even remember. I literally blacked out
Hundreds of thousands.
for that full day. Yeah.
That's a really good feeling. I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did anyone know you were going to release it prior, or was it a surprise?
Yeah. I think I mentioned it maybe 2 days before that I was going to be releasing it. So at like 11:50, people are like, because I didn't say the time, but people are like, where is it? Because I was doing other videos at that point on Facebook and stuff. So people were like, oh, we're looking forward to it. And this tune I performed all over the place, like a bunch of charity events, and the feedback that I got from that, just performing it live, is what made me do the studio version to it. So once it released, it was like, and it felt great. It felt great, and the rest was kind of history.
Yeah, weight off your shoulders. I can imagine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm kind of curious, like, how that path kind of works. I mean, obviously, for everyone, it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, we all know we've got to grow up. We've got to figure out a way to make a living and make money. And did you always kind of think that you could eventually use music as a means to an end?
Yeah, I did. At first, it really was. It wasn't. I guess like I said, my parents didn't take me as serious about it because honestly, there were so many people. Like, music was just the thing in North Preston, so everybody was, our artist here, our artist there. So it was like my parents was like, okay, he's just going through this phase. Like everybody else is
Like my parents with me and skateboarding.
Right, so it took them a while.
That's a phase.
It took them a while. I think after the Angel videos, when they're in the way everybody was like, oh, okay. I think after that they were like, okay, so this could really be something that he really wants to do. So they started to drive me to all these different places to perform and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, and then how does that process continue? Do you get, you book showings and things like that. Do you hire management, or do people approach you, or?
Honestly, at that time, like, for me, it was really just word of mouth, big time. Like, I didn't book anything. Everyone was kind of reaching out, like, can you sing at this place? Can you sing for my wedding?
Yeah.
Can you sing for my funeral?
Oh.
Or not my funeral,
Yeah.
but
They were asking you that?
You already have it recorded.
just-
Weddings would be a lot of fun, though.
Yeah.
No?
When he started, probably, but not the last one.
No. But yeah, so it was a bunch of that stuff, and people were like, oh, can you do my charity event, blah, 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 So it was kind of that thing, and that was kind of my career, period, up until last year. Up until last year, all of the opportunities I've gotten, I don't think I've booked any of them until now. Now that I have a team, an actual team, and we're building, of course, beyond here. Yeah,
We will get to that for sure, but
okay.
Absolutely.
I'm still curious to hear about how it was unfolding and unraveling while
Right.
you were still in high school trying to figure it out.
Right.
Was there a thought then to go post-secondary and pursue music?
Well, I did. I actually did.
There you go.
NSCC, perhaps?
Yes, it was.
Nice.
Yeah, music
Shout
arts.
out NSCC Waterfront.
Music arts. Yes, I did. Yeah.
I was like, did I miss that on the pregame notes?
That's so it's a 1 year program, right? Or is it 2?
It's 2 years.
It's 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Now, I didn't
radio's
finish, but
1. You got what you needed out of it.
Literally. And you know what? With that, and this is story, and I don't really say it much, but I actually went into the course with the mentality of I want to go in, I want to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can for this moment, and soak up everything, all the knowledge from the teachers, and then get out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I tell people that story, they're like, "What? What? So you didn't have no intention of graduating?" I'm like, "No." I literally really just wanted to soak up and be in the space, make the connections and all of those things, and then go. But I think I will go back to finish it though,
Yeah.
just for that sense of completion.
I'm wondering, as you mentioned, this past year, you have the management team in place now.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume it's a bit more organized. Were there times before that where you dealt with some challenges where you, since you didn't have that in place, were you kind of like a bit overwhelmed?
Oh my God, yeah, man. My first year at NSCC was pure hell, because I was battling with the fact that I did want to be in school and to learn, like I said, but I also, even before I got into the school, my career started.
Mm-hmm.
So I was also already doing things outside of school. So I was in school for something that I was already doing outside of school.
Mm.
So that brought the challenge of really wanting to be there and focusing, because there were some times where it would be really stressful because I was juggling so many things on my own. And so I would leave class. To go handle some of those things that I had to do. So,
I don't need you, school. I'm already famous.
and that's like, I really didn't even feel like that. It's just, I don't know what it was. It was just, I don't know. I still don't know what it was. But I just felt like I wanted to make sure that I still had something even when I decided to leave the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Instead of just being like, okay, I'm going to put it on hold and then do school and then come back to it. Traction had already started from there, and I wanted to keep that going.
Yeah, that gut feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seems like you made the right decision. It's paying off.
It's probably one of those careers as well that you kind of have to strike while the iron is hot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't know that from experience, of course, but it seems like that.
No, big time, for sure. Yeah, and that's a struggle in itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I can imagine. I mean, I'm, like Ben said, not familiar with the music industry, but just looking at it from, not a passerby, but just
General perspective.
General perspective, or as a spectator.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new artist coming out every few weeks,
Yeah.
new songs. There's so much competition,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not ready to deliver, then they're just going to go to the next person, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And you really just learn to deal with the pressure of all of that. For me, in the beginning, it was the pressure of always being on all the time. So I did have that image of being the church boy, the good, the really good guy, really positive all the time, and a lot of that, that was me as a person, but nobody's like that all the time. So even when I was upset and angry, I still would have to be that guy. And that was hard for me. That was tough for me until maybe maybe a year or so ago, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, fuck that. Like, that's not even who I really am. I'm just going to be who I really am. And if people like that, then that's great. But if they don't, then I'm just going to keep it moving.
At least you're yourself.
Yeah,
at that
absolutely.
Point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was a good decision for me because everything intensified big time after that decision.
And when you were in school, was that maybe the biggest struggle? Trying to figure out who you were and to try and battle your course schedule as well as your professional schedule, I guess.
Yeah. Juggling that schedule, yeah. I had like times when I would literally be in like full tears because it really means that much to me. Like it really meant
You're
that
invested,
much.
you're passionate.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd be in full blown tears. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. Like I can't do it. It's too much. It's way too much. And of course, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
So it was just in the moment. But yeah, there were some crazy times.
It's
Absolutely.
tough. I mean, I can, speaking from like, being sort of an entrepreneur for the last several months, it is tough because you got to be on every day because you could have an opportunity at any moment. And there's no question times where it's like, I just need to take a break. I just want to go lie down and rest and not pretend to give someone energy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we're servers as well. I mean, we had been in the industry, so we've dealt with, just putting on a face, and it can take a toll.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't love the idea of always feeling as though I was on a stage. For that exact reason, you have to be on. Therefore, you can't show a bad day, and everyone has bad days.
Absolutely.
So like I couldn't walk into work and be like, man, like I'm tired or I'm this and that. You'd have to be, hi, how are you? Like, I'm so happy to be here. Are you happy to be here? And it's when you force that type of emotion, it becomes dull when that emotion then hits. Right? So then I was like completely torn. I was like, I'm better at faking that I'm happy than I am at being happy.
That's a good perspective.
That's a word.
Yeah.
That's a word, man.
I was like, man, when I'm happy and showing you guys I'm happy and I'm on this stage at the restaurant, no one has an idea. Everyone would look at me and be like, happy as hell.
Yeah.
But then on the inside, I was like, am I actually this happy with this?
Absolutely.
Like, so you get it, right?
Big time. That was.
How did you overcome it?
Honestly, I really.
Because I quit.
Honestly, it was really just coming to the realization that everything that we feel every day is normal. Like it literally is normal. Like it's okay to have a bad day, and it's okay.
It's okay to feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes you show it. You show it a little bit, but and like we're all human. We literally are human.
That's human, right? I mean, that's
literally human. Yeah.
But there are careers that kind of contradict that.
Well,
Or they work
stifle
against.
it.
Yeah, they stifle it. They
And
work against it in the industry, like the
rewards.
entertainment industry or in the serving industry.
Yeah.
So, sort of similar in the sense that you do have to perform. Like you do have to be up there.
Yeah.
Reward the performance.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
100%.
I don't think I'm too far off. Am I?
No, not at all.
Yeah, and so like with that, I think people didn't. Okay, they knew they're like, oh, this guy, he's happy, he's a church boy, he's this, that. And then they'd be like, we love his voice, we love the passion behind his performances and those things. And what they didn't realize was the reason they loved the passion behind the performances is because of the pain that was behind some of the vocals when I'm performing and stuff like that. They didn't realize that that's really what was making them feel what they were feeling when they heard me.
Yeah.
Because it was that guy and stuff like that. But for me, and I literally just learned this maybe last week, I think in times when I'm going through pain and stuff, I think I've kind of chosen over my life and taught myself unintentionally that is really the time to go. Like most people when they're depressed and stuff like that, they start eating bad, they stop taking care of themselves properly and stuff like that. But for me, it's like I'm eating my best when I'm in those times. I'm working out my best. I'm performing my best. All of those things.
Trying to balance it.
Right. It's almost like I taught myself to thrive and create power out of pain.
I really like that.
Yeah,
that's definitely a saying.
Wow.
Hey, so you would find that when you were in those states, that you got your best results when you were in that state.
Yeah, man. My whole career was built off of that. Honestly, first time for me to say it out to anybody. But my whole career was built off some of the pain that I experienced over my life. A lot of what people loved seeing on stage and stuff like that, it was definitely built from pain. Absolutely.
Takes a lot of courage to admit that just now.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And you were able to channel that pain into those songs, and the people that, it's interesting because the people that knew you weren't even able to recognize that it was pain that was the emotion being channeled.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were able to hide it that well.
Yeah. Always smiling. Yeah.
And then it just clicked for you that you were like, you know what? I'm just going to let the emotions do what they may.
Yeah.
And start to live each emotion as it comes.
Yeah, because I really got into my own head about the way people see me. So, and that was bleeding over into my art. So all of the work that I was writing was on this like really positive tip. It didn't matter what pain I was going through. I was still trying to write all these positive songs, but really I just wanted to be like, fuck life. Like, this is hard. I hate doing this, or I hate whatever the case may be. Until I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to write exactly what I feel. And that opened up so many doors for me. Big time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation earlier, actually, where you kind of represent yourself as a brand, right? And when you represent yourself as a brand, it's similar to running a business. You would never want that in a bad light or a poor light. So kind of taking that into your situation, if you were to consider yourself like, you know, a brand as an entertainer, of course you're not going to want that to come across negatively in the spotlight.
Right.
So it's a tough balancing act.
Yeah.
Like, it's no wonder that some folks struggle with that lifestyle.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to be in that space all the time. It's really hard. And like, even growing up, I was my grandmother taught me so much. Even just how to carry yourself in public. Like, people say to me all the time, I love the way you carry yourself. Even just the way I sit, like when I'm sitting down, I'm watching, I'm always quiet. I try my best to be polite to everybody. She even went as far to teach me how to eat spaghetti properly.
I don't know.
It's a good skill.
Like with the fork and not, you know, the swooping and stuff like that, like literally cutting it with the knife. She taught me how to cursive write. I was cursive writing since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Fluently. Still to this day, I don't care. Hands down, the best cursive writer.
I remember dreading grade 2 for that very reason.
Yeah,
Or
everybody
3, whatever
hated
was.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you came in
everybody
there
hated
like,
it.
watch out, guys. I got this.
Yeah.
Always singing out on the football field while you guys are practicing this.
Like literally, like when I went into learning how to cursive write, I knew everything. So like they would give those papers, you know, with the guidelines in them and the letter there, so you write it multiple times. And I was just like, oh, it's okay. And just literally done. Yeah, so she taught me so much. And I feel like a lot of those things, like, I didn't let down. Even when I felt like I had to let down and just kind of just be Keonté, or Key, as everybody calls me, and just kind of let my hair down. I would still use those things to display the image, basically. And even though it was a part of me and still is a part of me, sometimes, you know, you don't feel like sitting up properly and stuff like that. Like, you know, you're going to slouch over and you're going to be loud in public. And so now I allow myself to do that and to fully be myself.
That's good. I think
It's great to know this early. Like at this age.
Ooh, 22. Let's see. What? Oh, I was in still full denial. Okay.
I'm 29.
Full denial. Oh my God.
But I think that speaks to like a kind of a cultural shift that we have going on, where it's embrace vulnerability, embrace who you are, and others will embrace you for doing that.
Yeah.
I wonder why it took so long.
Right.
And
I mean,
I'm gonna go back to it. It's my favorite word now.
I'm trying to unpack this.
Ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
But like, why are we now finally just able to somewhat step back?
Because we see the benefits.
Is it because of our worldview? I mean, we're all connected with the internet. We're able to take in so much more.
Right.
I mean,
that could be it.
What do you think, Key?
I feel like
I'm never gonna call you anything else.
As soon as you said your nickname was Key, he was like, yes.
I feel like it is that. I feel like it is the internet and stuff like that. I feel like we get to see so many things, and people are really starting to talk now. Like, they're really talking about how they feel. Like, I was just talking to my grandmother the other day, and we were talking.
I gotta shout out Grandma.
Yeah.
And we were talking the other day, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know. The kids nowadays, everybody's going through anxiety and depression. Like, we never dealt with that back then." And I was like, "But you guys did, though. Just back then, you guys called it crazy. That people were going crazy. Oh, this person's crazy. They're going through this." You know, but it was depression. People didn't know. They didn't talk about it. And she was like, "Oh, you know what? You're right." They just kind of put them in a box, and that was that. Everyone was crazy. Whereas now everyone's speaking about it. So I think that's why we're getting to the point where we're at today.
Mm-hmm. Someone said this to me like a month ago in the sauna. Should have sauna people.
Shout out sauna crew.
I actually didn't even mean to do that. Normally I bring them up for good reason, but someone suggested, do you think the rates are going up? Like the rates in which folks are dealing with anxiety and depression, or are the rates at which people are speaking about it going up?
Right.
So the rates
Good
are
question.
I don't know if the rates are about the same.
Well,
similar.
I mean, that's layered, right? Because there are
Very layered.
Because of social media, there are more cases of anxiety and maybe depression as well. But I think it more speaks to people actually dealing with their emotions as opposed to just wrapping them up and not talking about them.
When was the last time you heard "dust that under the rug"? So Grandma was a huge influence, and she really helped you get to a point where you were comfortable being yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. She taught me so much, so much. And of course my mom did too, but I always credit both of my grandmothers on my mom's side and my dad's side to a lot of my upbringing. And that's mainly because, well, they brought up my mom, you know, and my dad, you know, so a lot of the things that my mom and my dad taught me, they taught them. So I credit them a lot in my upbringing.
So wise.
Got double dipping.
So wise.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Why don't we, you mentioned way back when, this was kind of the year where you got your management team, and now you're booking things, and as I said, you've got a big show coming up in June. So what has the last year kind of been like since you got that in place?
Yeah, well, first of all, 2018 was a huge year for us, for me specifically speaking, because it was the year I really decided to stop letting other folks tell me the direction and what I should be, basically. There were so many people that was telling me I should, you know, be that guy behind the keyboard playing and serenading and stuff like that. And that was never what I wanted to be. But I was like that for a couple years, since 2014. And I brought up because my whole vision was the singing and dancing. And people are, again, no, you can't do that. That's not for you. You have to wait until you're playing stadiums and arenas and stuff to do that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why? Like, why? Is it because you haven't seen anybody here doing it before, so you feel like it can't be done? Of course, those questions were never answered.
I wonder, right? I feel like it's that the mentality. It's a mixture of, not seeing anyone here have done it before, and also I feel like it could be slight envy, jealousy, where it's like I wish there's part of them that's deep down. I wish I was, doing something that I wanted to do.
Right.
I find
that's so human nature.
If you come in contact with someone who's like whole, so to speak, who is completely content with who they are, they're not gonna knock you down a peg. They're gonna bring you up.
Absolutely. So it was actually finding those people to surround myself with. And last year I was like you know what, and it really was one of those realizations as well. I was just like, I'm really not gonna let anybody direct me. You know what, this is my vision. I had like a full album basically finished of a sound that I really didn't want. It was something I was pushed into. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm scrapping this whole thing. I'm not doing
that. Tossed it.
I was like, I'm scrapping this whole thing, and I did. And I said, I'm gonna go full forward with my vision of the full band on stage with me, the dancing, the singing, the complexity of it all, and I did it. It still blows my mind, to be honest. Yeah, I did that. It was pretty big.
You should be proud, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like not only to have a full album of work completed, no matter what it is, but to go to all the people that had steered you in that direction and say, nah, fuck this.
Yeah.
That must have been tough.
Yeah.
I mean, not tough in the sense that it wasn't the right decision, but just, I assume those are people you trust, those are people that you've, shared.
Right, and I've always followed my gut, big time. So some decisions can be hard because you have people around you, like you said, that you trust. You have them there for a reason. But when your gut is like really, 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 really telling you something, and I've always moved off of my gut, I take that leap, and so I did that. And last year was like our biggest year to date. It's big time.
I'm really curious so let's say everyone that's listening is looking for a piece of advice. Would that be your number one right there? To always just remain true to you.
Yes.
And do that like do it with passion. Otherwise, if you're faking it or forcing it, it'd still be good. But maybe just try your absolute best to stay true to you, kind of deal. And I mean, you've spoken on it already, so.
Yeah, big time. You got to do it. You really do have to. You got to do it. And honestly, doors will open for you like that you never, ever, ever thought would happen either as quickly or would be as large, because things just took a whole new turn after I started doing that, to the point where now I really make it a thing to be like, no, if I'm not feeling this, if I'm not passionate about it, if my gut is not telling me this, then I won't do it.
He isn't going to let anyone.
No. At this point, man, no.
I like
not
that.
a chance. Yeah.
I think that's super important.
Yeah.
No, I would just say that I would think that a lot of people would fall into that trap of being like, you should do this, or stick to this, or you sound better at that, and all the while you've got this inner turmoil being like, I want to do it my way, let me do it my way, it's going to come out great.
And proof is in the pudding. I mean, obviously that's great advice, but you have what has come from that. You have the success that obviously you had success before that, but I don't think you'd be able to reach the success you've reached now if you hadn't remained true to yourself, or you hadn't embraced that.
It's like the things that we're doing now, especially on stage, I don't think no one around here has done ever before.
I want to come to the show.
It's June 8th at 6:30. I don't know what you're doing that night, but we'll be there.
We'll be there.
Where exactly is it?
It's at the Music Room on Lady Hammond Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there any other details you could give us or the listeners? Is there a ticket price at the door?
Yeah. It's no tickets at the door, so everything is in advance. It's $22 plus taxes, of course, and you can get.
You have ours in your back pocket.
I wish it's only through online.
We would be happy to support you.
Yeah, and Arenye, he's the Afrobeat artist. He's gonna be opening up the night. Yes, nice. And his energy is incredible, which is why I chose him, because our energy is about the same on stage.
We got some matching energies. Awesome. So that sounds like a really fun night to take part in.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great night.
What can those that attend look forward to?
Oh, they can look forward to lots of energy, lots of dancing, and a lot of great musical arrangements.
Nice.
Yep.
I am excited.
Yeah.
What day of the week?
It's on a Saturday.
Oh, even better.
It's on the weekend, so you have no excuses, folks. We'll see you there.
Right.
Awesome. Best $22 you'll ever spend. Any chance you could elaborate on what you mean by your team, your management team for us?
Yeah, so I have bookings. I also have a musical director. I don't have management per se as of now, only because of the fact that I wanted to take all of that under the reins myself and manage myself. But I am speaking to somebody who might come on to do that. But I think for me in the past, I have been a control freak at sometimes. Just wanting things done. And, sometimes you feel like you're the only one who can do it the way you really want it and stuff like that. But now having the team, it really has allowed me to do so much more of what I really, really should be focused on, like the music, like the songwriting, the events, and going out to meet everybody and stuff, which I love to do, despite how shy I am. And just stuff like that. It gives me more free time to really be the artist. And so I'm really grateful. And I have an amazing, amazing team. Wouldn't have anybody else doing it.
Awesome. So it really just gives you more time to focus on the creative process.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the documentary for Beyonce's tour, but talking about being involved in the creative process. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Down to like the shoes that 100,000 backup dancers were wearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's very much so how I am. Like big time. Like when I get to that level, level.
That's right.
I'll be just like that.
That's awesome.
The person that's up 24 hours to get the show ready.
And it's your vision, so I mean, you see what it needs to be, and and if you, I mean, it's good to take in consideration from others, but at the end of the day, like you said, you've got a gut feeling that you trust, and you got to go with it.
I think it's definitely an acquired skill to allow others to, give you their perspective and for you to take it in. Like that's really tough for a lot of people. But I think it's the same or even true still. Those that know they want to tackle it themselves, I have so much respect for that too. So I commend you for taking it on. It shows, a little bit more to your passion and your willingness to take this on head on by yourself as your own manager, but obviously with that team. So
you have the big concert coming up in a month from now, yesterday. And what are the big plans coming up beyond that? Any plans for the future? I assume you've got something going on.
Yeah. So we're definitely looking more to expanding more throughout Canada. Like Nova Scotia, we've done a lot here. But we're gonna be expanding for sure. We're gonna do. There's a lot of new music, and I'm laughing because I'm the worst with it. I'm always like, 3 years time, I'm still, trying to perfect everything.
Yeah.
But so new music, absolutely, and some other things that I'm not gonna mention right now.
Ooh, couple of secrets.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
You'll have to tune in when? I don't know. Whenever.
I don't
Who
even
knows?
know
Even
right now.
Keonté doesn't know.
As soon as he knows, you'll know. Don't worry.
Let's just say I'm really interested in doing films and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
As well as music.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously you scrapped the last album because you're like, this isn't the direction I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have plans for the album that is Your Truth?
Yes, I do. I kind of just really wanted to display everything that I've learned between, of course, my whole career so far, but especially last year and now, because I did a lot of soul searching, and I'm still doing that now. Still learning so much about myself and how to deal with some of the pains of the past and stuff like that. So I want all of that into the album. I'm not exactly sure how some of it will come across, but I'm not worried about it because I know that it's really me being my authentic self, and it's kind of like take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's I love that. I can honestly I can feel the passion from over here when you talk about that and the energy and the ideas and the memories may they be going through. Do you have any idea how that will kind of manifest themselves when working through this album?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the tunes actually are already written. So a lot of it was digging deep.
Yeah.
In the beginning of my career was just talking about, some surface stuff. I didn't talk about love and, heartbreaks and even just some of the things that depressive states have come from. So some of the real deep, dark things that make me Keonté now today. I've learned so much from those things, seeing so much at a young age that I think I really just want that to show, but not show in a negative way. Show that I've made it through and I'm still going. That I'm still going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A healthy growth pattern.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
I like it. I like it all.
I'd say so. I think we pretty much got all we need. That was incredible, Keonté. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I was really curious actually. It hit me. I was thinking about this earlier. We spend most of the day talking about it leading up to a podcast, like the next episode, the next guest. And I didn't ask Mark this, but I was curious. What take us through your songwriting process if you can. Obviously, it could be, the condensed version. Right. I'm just really curious. I've never written a song.
Right. The reason I'm laughing is because when people ask me that question, it really is like that ritual type thing for me sometimes when I'm home. Like, of course, if I have a partner that I'm writing with that day, then it's just really us in the studio listening to the beat, vibing, and writing what we feel and, bouncing off of one another. But when I'm home, it's very much so a candle is lit. I'm in the dark. The only thing that's lit is like the 1 or 2 candles. And literally just the emotion of it all. Whether that is flat notes, notes that aren't right on, or words that may be slurred, or whatever the case may be, like the raw emotion of it. I do that first every single time, and then I worry about actually perfecting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
Thank
do
you for
get
that.
a little, you got a strategy, a game plan going on.
Ish, yeah. I'm a mumble rapper before the song's actually written. I mumble everything until words come.
Interesting, because I was wondering if it was spontaneous or, as you mentioned, or it's a ritual-like kind of thing. Because, some people could be walking down the street and they get inspired, write a few things down. But
and those times have happened.
Yeah.
And that makes, iPhones, are good.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Notepads in the iPhone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Notes.
Right.
Notes.
Right. Another thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a couple lyrics in that iPhone right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll wrap things up there, Keonté. We want to appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, and sharing your story. We really enjoyed that.
We were happy to share your story. It's an excellent one. I mean, I feel like the world is your oyster, so get
Hey,
out
you're
there
only
and start
22.
shucking, man.
Thank you.
You've
Yeah,
got
20.
You can do great things. We will come to that show, by the way.
That'd be awesome.
Wait, am I here in June? Yeah, I'm here. We're doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna hold you to it now.
Are you gonna give us a shout out?
I'm gonna hold
There's
you to
my
it.
voice.
Yes, I will. Yes,
Brand new view.
I sure will.
Oh, we're into that.
We'll have to get Sarah to come too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Nice one. Well, yeah, no doubt that you've got a great career ahead of you.
Thank you.
You've got an awesome head on your shoulders. We really, one common theme we've had with a lot of our guests is that they've come to terms with being who they are, and that's 100% okay. And with you, that's clear as day. So I want to appreciate you for sharing that perspective.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to.
Awesome. All right, Ben. With that, I'm Mark Boudreaux.
I'm Ben Brammer.
See you
Nothing's
next week.
changed.
Folks. Oh, you piece of shit.
See you next week, gang.
I was the same old me. I was the same old me. I was the same old